Star Trek made Enterprise's T'Pol the new Dax, but her story may never be finished. Star Trek Lower Decks made T'Pol, Jolene Blalock, Star Trek's newest Dax, but it's unclear what this means for either character's future or if audiences will ever see it. In its fifth and final season on Paramount+, Star Trek Lower Decks' USS Cerritos investigated a series of quantum fissures that had mysteriously opened up throughout the galaxy. The penultimate episode, Fissure Quest, revealed that Section 31 had assigned Captain William Boimler, Jack Quaid, and a Star Trek Legacy character crew of interdimensional castaways to discover the cause of these unstable connections to the multiverse. Captain Boimler's ragtag crew was made up of several familiar faces from across Star Trek's vast timeline, including T'Pol and Curzon Dax, Fred Tatasciore, the Trill host for the Dax symbiont before Star Trek Deep Space Nine's Yagia, Terry Farrell. Although Curzon died before the events of DS9, he nevertheless had a presence on the show, mostly through Yagia and her friendship with Captain Benjamin Sisko, Avery Brooks. In Fissure Quest, Curzon served as the tactical officer aboard Boimler's Defiant-class starship Anaximander, and he had a contentious friendship with T'Pol. Lower Decks made T'Pol Star Trek's new Dax. Throughout Star Trek Lower Decks' Fissure Quest, Curzon lives his life to its fullest by his own admission, diving into battles and indulging in unhealthy food. When LT Harry Kim, Garrett Wang goes rogue and steals Captain Lily Sloan's, Alfred Woodard, multiverse-jumping starship, Curzon does not hesitate to battle the hostile Quopians surrounding the Anaximander. Although Curzon is severely injured in the fight, he conceals his injury until it causes him to pass out at his console. In sickbay, the ship's surgeon, Dr. Garrick, Andrew Robinson, treats Curzon's injury but cannot heal him. On his deathbed, Curzon laments that the Dax symbiont will end with him, but T'Pol has other ideas. She initiates a mind meld with Dax, transferring all of the symbiont's memories to her own brain for safekeeping. Although it's more Catra than she had anticipated, T'Pol promises to protect Dax's memories and pass them on. T'Pol now possesses the memories of all 7 of Dax's hosts, up to and including Curzon, but not including Yagia or Ezri, Nicole D. Boer. It's unclear if anything like this has ever been attempted before, and the effect it will have on T'Pol remains unknown. Star Trek Lower Decks' final season left the ramifications of T'Pol's decision to download Dax's memories an open question. T'Pol implies that she plans to travel to Curzon's universe and deliver the memories to Trill, but it's unclear how this would work without the Dax symbiont. This would likely be an unprecedented situation, but it's possible Dax's memories could be transferred into a new symbiont, which could then be transferred to a new host. Otherwise, T'Pol will be stuck carrying the memories of 7 Dax hosts, which is a lot for one Vulcan mind to handle. As Star Trek Lower Decks ended with Season 5, it remains to be seen whether any of these questions will ever be answered on screen. Although Star Trek Lower Decks' series finale left the door open for several storylines to continue, there has been no news about any potential spin-offs. Whether or not Star Trek ever continues the story of T'Pol hosting the Dax symbiont's memories, Fissure Quest was a great episode that offered a fun glimpse of alternate versions of several beloved characters and helped end Star Trek Lower Decks on a high note. Star Trek has a rich tradition of creating layered, complex characters whose arcs evolve and resonate throughout their series. In Star Trek Enterprise, T'Pol, the Vulcan science officer, emerged as a unique and transformative figure. Her nuanced journey on the NX-1 Enterprise gave her a striking parallel to Yagia Dax, the beloved Trill science officer from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Both characters explored themes of identity, morality, and personal growth in ways that challenged their species' conventions, offering a lens for examining humanity's struggles. However, while Dax's story was carried through multiple hosts and ultimately concluded in a satisfying arc, T'Pol's narrative was tragically cut short, leaving her character with unresolved threads and unrealized potential. T'Pol and the Legacy of Dax. Yagia Dax was a pioneer among Star Trek characters, embodying the symbiotic relationship between a Trill host and the ancient Dax symbiont. Through her experiences, audiences witnessed a fascinating exploration of memory, identity, and cultural clashes. Jadzia's wisdom, humor, and personal growth became central to DS9, and her untimely death, followed by Ezri Dax inheriting the symbiont, provided closure while extending the story of Dax. T'Pol similarly broke new ground for her franchise. As the first Vulcan officer serving alongside humans in Starfleet's early days, she was a pioneer for her species in much the same way Spock later would be. Her storyline grappled with themes of cultural identity, emotional suppression, and the struggle to reconcile logic with emotion, a dynamic that echoed Jadzia's internal balancing act between Trill and human sensibilities. Like Dax, T'Pol became a bridge between worlds, learning to appreciate human strengths while grappling with her own people's prejudices. Her relationships, especially with Captain Archer and Commander Tucker, humanized her and showed the complexities of breaking away from Vulcan orthodoxy. However, unlike Dax, whose story was expanded over two hosts, T'Pol's arc was abruptly halted when Enterprise was cancelled after 4 seasons, leaving much of her character's journey incomplete. The unfinished storylines. One of the most compelling aspects of T'Pol's character was her struggle with emotion. While Vulcans are taught to suppress emotions in favor of logic, T'Pol's time among humans and her eventual addiction to Trillium-D, a substance that made her emotions more accessible, showed her grappling with a level of vulnerability rarely seen in Vulcan characters. This arc had the potential to redefine what it meant to be Vulcan, offering a deeper exploration of their emotional history and why their species chose logic over emotion in the first place. Unfortunately, the abrupt ending of Enterprise left T'Pol's struggle unresolved. Her addiction was never fully explored in its aftermath, nor were her relationships with her crewmates, particularly Trip Tucker. Their romantic connection was a rare and poignant element in Enterprise, but the sudden conclusion of the series prevented it from developing organically. The controversial series finale, These Are the Voyages, offered little closure for their relationship, instead leaving it ambiguous and unsatisfying for fans. Furthermore, T'Pol's family history, particularly her strained relationship with her mother and her journey to reconcile Vulcan tradition with her own evolving values, was another rich narrative vein left largely untapped. There was potential for her to serve as a bridge between Vulcan and humanity, playing a pivotal role in shaping early Federation ideals, a legacy akin to Dax's contributions to the Dominion War and DS9's moral landscape. A missed opportunity for evolution. T'Pol's unfinished story highlights a broader issue within Star Trek Enterprise. As the series focused on the foundation of the Federation, it struggled to balance episodic storytelling with character-driven arcs. While T'Pol's character showed immense promise, the series' cancellation meant her evolution remained incomplete. Her potential as a revolutionary Vulcan figure, questioning her people's rigid adherence to logic, was left unrealized. This is where T'Pol's comparison to Dax becomes especially poignant. Yajia Dax's legacy continued through Ezri, ensuring that the symbiont's journey was complete even after Jadzia's death. The concept of Dax as a living embodiment of continuity and change was fully realized. T'Pol, on the other hand, was denied the opportunity to fulfill her arc, making her a character forever frozen in transition. Could T'Pol's story be finished? While Star Trek Enterprise concluded years ago, the franchise has proven adept at revisiting and expanding on its history. With Star Trek, Discovery, Picard, and animated series like Lower Decks, there's precedent for resurrecting beloved characters and weaving them into new narratives. T'Pol's story could find new life in a future Star Trek project. As a Vulcan, her longevity offers a natural way to revisit,